Perfect, we're recording. Brilliant. Right. Welcome back, everybody. I know I apologised on email, and I apologise to those that were signing, but really sorry about Saturday. I had a load of school videos that I'd done, videoing for some resources, saved them to my computer, and I had no storage, so it literally just kicked me out. I thought I'd emailed all your parents and guardians to let them know after 5 minutes, but he wouldn't even send the email. So, a bit of a nightmare, so sorry for the inconvenience it caused. Right, we're going to kick straight off with the bowling. So the first couple of drills, just in case there was anybody that wasn't on Saturday, and I didn't record it, so a bit of it might be a bit of a recap, but because we covered your bowling last week and we did individual analysis, I'm giving you sort of 2 or 3 little drills that are generic and are really good for you to do at the start of the season. So I'll let you watch. If you can't hear, just pop it in the comments, in the chat bit, but I'm hoping you can hear. You won't hear it yet until it goes to until you see my ugly mug, my ugly face.
Right, so bowling fundamentals, we're going to focus on identifying whether you're side on, midway or front on. Neither's right or wrong, just got to do it consistently to make sure we don't get injured, and also to make sure we're nice and consistent in our delivery. And secondly, we're going to focus on alignment, so making sure hips and shoulders are aligned, and also making sure our feet are aligned and not too open or not too closed.
Perfect. So I know from when we covered this on Saturday, I asked you if you knew if you were front on, if you had a front on action, if you had a midway action, or if you had a side on action. So if we start the same way, if you pop in the comments in the chat box, do you know if you're front on, midway, or side on? If you don't know, you can pop don't know. It's absolutely fine. So, and I said to those that said they didn't know, I know you sent some videos, but if you take me a video looking straight at you, so a bit like the video that I've just shown you, make sure that that they're straight in front, because then I can see how your feet land and where you're looking, because that's what I need to figure out in terms of whether you're front on, midway, or side on. None's right or wrong. It just allows you to know what you are and make sure that you can just practice that on the lead up to the season, and making sure your feet are in the right place for you and that front arm's in the right place for you, depending on. So brilliant. So we've got a few that are midway, a few side on, a few front on. So we've got a mixture, which is normal and is absolutely fine. Okay, so the first drill, I explained it there. It's just a case of standing, making sure that your feet are in the right place and your front arm's in the right place. And you just practice that over and over and over again. Okay, so you can definitely do that in the garden, on the drive, without taking up too much space. So that's drill 1, nice and simple. Please have a go at.
So the first activity as a bowler is we're going to work out whether we've got a front on action, a midway action, or a side on action. Okay, and that basically means that our hips match our shoulders. Okay, and it's really important that you know which you are, so we can practice alignment. Okay, so for me, I'm midway, so that means that my right foot isn't pointing sideways and it isn't pointing straight down, it's in the middle, which means my top half needs to match, which means I look pretty much straight through my arm. If I was sideways on, back foot pointing sideways, I'd look over this side of my shoulder. If I was actually front on, I'd be looking over this side of my shoulder. Okay, you are going to send your videos in, so I'll be able to identify if you don't know. Okay, but what I'm hoping is we can practice a little bit of alignment. So first drill for alignment, whichever we are. If we're sideways on, we're going to be in this position, and we're just going to practice bowling. If we're midway, we're going to be in this position looking through our arm, and we're going to practice bowling. If we're front on, we're going to be this way, and we're going to practice our bowling. So it's just you understanding your action and making sure your hips match your shoulders.
Perfect. So that just explained what I did there. So now if you were front on, I showed you where your back foot should land and how your front arm should be. Same for midway and same for side on. So that's just for you to practice. So I've popped in there. If you don't know, send me your videos in, and then I can tell you, and you can refer back to this video and it'll let you know. Okay, so that's the first drill. You can do lots of it in your garden, on your drive, lots of just standing and bowling, making sure feet and arms, which means your hips and your shoulders are all aligned and are spot on. Drill number 2.
Worked out whether you're front on, midway, or side on, and you've practiced a little bit, stood nice and still off your back foot and bowling. We're actually going to have a little bit of a walk up. So your second activity, very, very similar to your first, we're actually going to walk up. So for me, I'll be walking up. show you that one again. Walking up, so I'm going to make sure my back foot contact's correct, and I'm looking through that arm. And I'm right, so we've got another.
Brilliant. So exactly the same as drill 1, but you're not stood still. You're having a bit of a walk up, okay? And like I mentioned on Saturday, if you want to do a bit of a run up and have your delivery stride in there, that's absolutely fine, okay? But again, we're making sure back foot contact's good and our front arm is doing what it should be doing, all right? Now, this is where we got on to on Saturday. So this is, I'll play it on in a minute. It's about another minute left. For spinners, it's the opposite to fast bowlers. So if you're a spinner, I talk about what you're doing towards the end. Fast bowlers and seamers, I talk about what you're doing at the start. Okay, so I'll let you watch and then we'll explain.
For our bowling, we're going to focus on back foot contact. Okay, so for me, obviously, my back foot is my right foot. Now, depending whether I'm front on, whether I'm midway, or whether I'm sideways on, depends on what angle your foot, your back foot is going to point at. So I'm midway, so I'm going to point it this way. And as a fast bowler, I'm going to try and spend as little time as possible on that right foot. If I'm a spin bowler, I'm going to try and spend a little bit longer. Okay, so your first drill, if you're a quick bowler, we're going to try and get up and off this right foot as quick as possible. So we're going to be trying to bounce and spend as little time as possible on that back foot. If I was a spin bowler, it's the complete opposite. I want you to spend as long as you can on that back foot. So we're going to go up, we're going to hold, and we're going to hold, and we're going to get used to spending as long as we can. So you can do a fair few of those forwards and backwards.
Perfect. So that's your last drill. So fast bowlers, the nice and simple way to sort of summarise it. If you're a fast bowler, you want to spend as little time as possible on your back foot. So if you're a right arm bowler, it's your right foot that you're going to spend as little time as possible on. If you're a left arm bowler, it's your left foot. So we're training our muscles in our sort of around our feet, ankles and legs. We're training to get off them as quickly as possible. So have that explosive strength, make sure we're bouncing and off really quick. If you're a spinner, off spinner, leg spinner, slow left arm, whatever, you're going to be the complete opposite. You're going to spend as long as possible on that back foot. So it was a case of jumping, landing and hold, jump, land and hold. Okay, that helps you with your action as a spinner, gives you a little bit more time to get the revs on the ball. Okay, so 3 nice and simple drills that you can do inside or outside. Maybe drills 1 and 2 you wouldn't do inside if you needed to bowl the ball, but you could just pretend. And it's making sure that alignment is spot on. The other thing I didn't hugely cover was your feet. We don't want to be hugely closed off or hugely open. We want our feet just about in line, but it could be slight variations. Okay, so use those 3 drills. Good time now to use them and just groom your action and make sure it's where it needs to be. Okay, so that was the real quick 3 drills for your bowling. If I stop share and I'm going to start it again, we're going to move on to the 4 C's. Let's have a look. This is where it might all go wrong again. Hopefully not. Right, let's have a look. Right, if you can just let me know, is the PowerPoint screen on again with Complete Coaching Solutions? Give me thumbs up. Brilliant. Thanks, Teddy. Right. Let me get the chat box up. Yes, brilliant. Right. So I'll get cracking. So, the 4 C's. Any idea what the 4 C's might be? Okay, I'm going to give you that first sort of sentence. So cricketers can have all the ability, natural ability, and all the technical ability. The technique could be perfect, but it doesn't mean that they're going to end up being the best cricket players. So that's a little bit of a clue on what some of or all the 4 C's are about. If you've got any ideas, stick them in the chat box. Don't worry, it doesn't have to be right. It's just what you potentially think. The 4 words, the clues in the title, the 4 words start with the letter C. So we've got commitment, we've got concentration, we've got coaching, catching. Don't think too much about, it's a good idea, but don't think too much about skills that you need in the game. Think outside the box. Confidence, Alfie, good one. You've got 3 out of 4. Composure's a good one. Creative. I like that one as well. Good stuff. Some super ideas. I think you've got 3 out of 4. I might have missed some, but you've done a pretty good job there. So if I move communication, I like that one, Eric, as well. Right. What are the 4 C's? So there are 4 factors that make up your mental strength. So we've talked a little bit about mental strength over the last few weeks. Okay, so we're going to hit on a few of the things, goal setting, positive self-talk. We're going to hit on a few of those in a little bit more detail when we talk about the 4 C's. Concentration. I think we had concentration. Who got concentration? Natalie. Brilliant. So concentration is one of the C's. Confidence. That was got by Alfie. So we got confidence. Control is a difficult one. So we didn't get control, but control is one of the 4 C's. And we got the last one of commitment, which was, who got commitment? Eric. Brilliant. So great teamwork. We got 3 out of the 4. Not a bad effort. Okay, so all I'm going to do is I've got a slide to talk through each, and we'll talk about the importance of those 4 things. So always remember that first sentence that I put at the top there. Cricketers can have all the ability and the best technique in the world, but it doesn't actually mean they're going to be the best players in a match, okay? And these 4 C's, if you're good at those and you work hard and train those, they're as important as natural ability and your technique. Right. That's just me explaining that. So concentration in cricket. Hit me up in the chat box. Can you concentrate in cricket all of the time? What do you think? Yes or no? God, it's going crazy. 8 messages. 9. No. No need. Only when you need. Brilliant. So pretty much across the board, no. Perfect. I like that. So think now. I want to make this really, rather than just listening to me, again in the chat box, what situations do you find it easy to concentrate? So you concentrate well in cricket. So where do you find it easy to concentrate when you're playing cricket? Pop me some ideas. So people saying when they're batting, they find it quite easy. So Eric, when the bowler's running up, finds it easy to concentrate. Alfie, when he's walking in and fielding. Chris, when he's bowling. Natalie, fielding. Lewis, run up. When you're busy, I like that one, Lucas. So maybe when you've got a job to do, you might be batting, you might be bowling, but maybe sometimes when you're fielding, not so much. Brilliant. Some great ideas. Right. Flip it now. The complete opposite. When do you find it hard to concentrate? So when do you get distracted when you're playing cricket? Pop me some when we're fielding. So we've got fielding. Lucas, so the opposite again, when you're not involved. Chris says when he's batting, when you're watching, so when you're watching the rest of your team. Riley, sledging. Go on, expand, because that's a really interesting one. Between balls in the field, not such a big one. That's when I'd encourage you to switch off and not concentrate. So that's when we talked about not concentrating all the time. But it's a good point, Joe. Waiting to bat, batting because the keeper will sledge. So a couple have mentioned sledging. When they're sledging, they're trying to put you off, and sometimes you find it difficult to concentrate. Brilliant. Some super ideas in there. Thank you for sharing your thoughts. Right. So fielding when you're in a boring bad position. Yeah. Now I'm getting older, I get stuck in all the bad positions as well. Right. So the important thing, how can you practice your concentration? So just like you can practice your batting and your bowling and your fielding, there's actually things that you can do to practice and make sure your concentration's as good as it can be. So the thing that I always say is get yourself in the moment or get yourself switched on. But what I've underlined there is when it matters. So Joe made a really good point. Between balls, he finds it difficult to concentrate. But does it matter between balls? Probably not. So between balls when you're fielding, between balls when you're batting, between balls when you're fielding, even when you're watching to an extent, you can switch off, you can chill out. But as soon as it matters, you need to be in the moment, you need to be switched on. Lucas, I like that one, positive self-talk. It's like I've sent you my slides, Lucas. So you can have that self-talk of switch on, switch off. Yeah, you can really tell yourself when it's important to switch on. You'd have those pre-routines, which I think might be the next one. Yeah, routines. So you've got your routines, you've got your self-talk, but it's super important. Nobody can expect at your age, you're playing cricket, you might be fielding for an hour and a half. You cannot concentrate full stop, full on for an hour and a half. You've got to be able to switch on and switch off. Okay, so the self-talk and the routines are pretty good ways of doing that. Okay, so Josh Butler switch on, brilliant from the self-talk one. Like that, well remembered, Harry. So hopefully you found that useful with the concentration. You've got a few little tips from previous sessions with me with the self-talk and the routines, things that you can work on to improve your concentration. The second one, confidence. So in the chat box, does confidence affect how you perform? So don't think about anybody else. Are you a confidence player? Yes or no? Mix. Most saying yes, but we've got a few saying no. Neither's right or wrong. If you're not a confidence player, that's probably the best. I would class myself as a confidence player. So if things aren't going well, it kind of gets to me. If you're not a confidence player and you're not affected by not batting well or not bowling well in the previous match, it can pretty much help you. Confident bowler, not confident. Yeah, so different skill set. You might have a different sort of feeling on your confidence. Okay, but neither's right or wrong. Some people are confidence players. Some people aren't. It's absolutely fine. But it's good to know what you are. Now, I tried my best here to link it to you guys. So I'm presuming most of you have got Xboxes and PS4s. Yeah? And I'm guessing you play on quite a lot of games. Now, I'm not down with the kids. I don't have an Xbox. I don't have a PS4. But correct me if I'm wrong. I think, and don't do this because I don't want you to be in trouble, but you can buy credits and you buy sort of things in order to get the best equipment and all that sort of stuff. Is that right? Finn's nodding. Okay. So I want you to think about confidence being the same. The other way to explain it is a bank account. So you put money in your bank account so you can keep buying things and you've got money. Okay. But confidence is saying you need to keep topping it up. So when you top up your credits for your PS4 and your Xbox, it's the same with your confidence. So whether you're training, make sure you're topping up your confidence. Where just normal general life, top up your confidence. In games, top up your confidence. Okay. How can you top up your confidence? Any ideas? Pop it in the chat box. Anyone got any ideas how you might improve your confidence? So we've got self-talk again. Practice. I like that, Reese. What would you practice? Routine. Yeah, routine helps with your confidence as well. Let me pause this up. Super. Some great ideas again. So you've got it. Positive self-talk. Nothing better. Okay. Remind yourself of that good performance. It might be 2 weeks ago. It might be 2 months ago. But really remember the things that went well. Hit yourself with the bat to focus. Not too hard though, Finn. Please. Positive self-talk. So thinking about this past successes, like I said, people have said training. I want to take it a step further, inside and outside your comfort zone. So a comfort zone is probably something that either you enjoy doing or that you think you're good at, okay? Which is always good to practice our strengths, to make them even better, okay? And that's going to help our confidence. But also, maybe some of the things that we've struggled with in a match across batting, bowling and fielding, we need to practice those to make them even better. And if you can practice those and take yourself outside your comfort zone in training, hopefully you see some improvements in training, and all of a sudden, the things you found difficult in a match, you become more confident at and you become better at. Okay, so I always say, train at match intensity. So make sure you're training at match intensity and make sure you're training with a focus, whether that's to improve a strength or improve an area that you want to develop. Okay, so that's a really important point. And 4 or 5 of you brought that up on the chat, which was great to see. Okay, so that's your confidence. So you've got a few things that we've covered over the last few Zooms, which I hope the confidence sort of fits into. And there's maybe a couple of little added bits there that you can work on as well to improve your confidence, especially those that commented at the start that they're a confidence player. But even those that didn't, it's always good to be confident. So you can practice a few of those things as well. Right, control. So this is the one that we didn't get, and probably is a little bit outside the box. Now I've given you the word of control in cricket. Pop in the chat, what do you think it means? What's it in relation to? Any ideas? Training, was that one? Training? Ah, Lucas liked that one. Staying calm. What's the opposite to staying calm? Not getting angry or losing your temper. Brilliant. Stress, Lewis, that's a very good one as well. Too good, you lot. Too good. Stress, brilliant. Right. So what does this mean? Control. How you control your emotions. So we've talked about being laid back. Who said that at the start? Staying calm, Lucas. And we've talked about the other end of the spectrum, maybe being a little bit too fired up. Okay. So you've got to control those emotions to perform to the best of your ability. All right. Some people will perform better when they're laid back. Other people will need to be a little bit more fired up and revved up to perform at their best. Again, it's a completely individual thing. Nobody's the same. So if you're too laid back and you need to be more fired up, you could look at motivation. So again, it could go back to self-talk. It could go back to maybe telling yourself off a little bit to try and get yourself a little bit more G'd up. The opposite to that, too fired up, you might look at how can you relax yourself. So this is going to sound silly, but yoga, which works on breathing techniques, really, really, really important and really good if you're one of those people that gets a bit hot-headed and a bit too fired up and you need to calm yourself down. Okay, so there's a lot of different relaxation techniques that you can use. Make your training specific. So we touched on this for confidence, okay? But if you don't train under stress and you don't put yourself in those situations, when you get into a game, it's going to be a bit of a shock, okay? And that's then when you can get a bit too pumped up or you can get too calm, depending on your personality and which way you go. So make sure your training is specific. Get some stressful scenarios in there. So you might be, as a bowler, you've got to get a wicket in your last 4 balls. Or as a batter, you've got to get 7 runs off your last 4 balls. So you can be quite specific. You can take them further than that and give yourself sort of 30-ball scenarios, which is sort of a little bit more detailed and probably better. But any sort of stress that you can put yourself under when you're training, when we say stress, it doesn't have to be bad. It's just set yourself a challenge in order to help you try and control your emotions. So you're controlling your emotions in training as well as in a match. Okay, so that was the one that we didn't get at the start, and I'm hoping that sort of strikes some chords with you, and you kind of understand where you're at, whether you're too calm sometimes or whether you're at the other end of the scale. But really important to know yourself, your sort of best state, so you can perform as well as you can. And last but not least, commitment. Okay, so this one basically does what it says on the tin, but I want to sort of maybe tell you something different to what other people have done. So commitment, it'll get you a long way in life, not just cricket. Okay, I'll sound like an old parent or guardian telling you that, but commitment gets you so far, not just in cricket. It's a good life skill to have as well. So being committed is difficult when you're talking about cricket. So if you think about all the things that are going on in your life, okay, it might be a little bit different now with COVID, but you're at school 5 days a week. You've got socialising that you want to do with friends and family. You've got other sports. You might play football or hockey or anything. All of these elements are as important as each other. So I'm not sitting here and telling you you've got to be cricket 24/7. It's important to have a good life balance and make sure you do your school work. Make sure you spend some time socialising with friends. Don't just play cricket. Obviously play your football in the winter, get into your cricket in the summer, obviously do some training in the winter as well. But it's good to have a mix, okay? And make sure that you value each of those equally important. So ways to work on your commitment and make sure that you're sort of popping your schedule in the right sort of way. Planning and goal setting was a thing. Was it the first session? It was a long time ago. But if you can plan and set your goals, that helps you commit to them. Don't just say them, we spoke about this, make sure you write them down. Okay, Jesse Lingard, you might have read about him going from Man United to West Ham. Footballer, he talked about setting himself some goals through until the end of the season while he's on loan with West Ham. So goal setting and planning, super, super good to make sure you commit to something and you try your best to carry it out, but make sure you write them down. Establish a routine. So we've talked about routines specifically for cricket, but your routine, school, cricket, might train once a week. You might want to go and see friends. So you can set a little bit of a diary and establish a routine that you do each week. So you're not committing to having to do cricket 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. You just know you're going to do it once, twice a week, and you're going to commit and you're going to invest your time and energy in those sessions to be as good as you can be and work as hard as you can work. Perfect. Has anybody got any questions that they would like to ask? One about the bowling, which we spent 5 or 6 minutes going through at the start, or about any of the 4 C's? Anybody got anything they want to ask or clarify? While I'm giving you a bit of time to do that, if you do want to know if you're front on, side on, or midway in terms of your bowling action and you don't know, if you can send me a video, whoever's taking the video needs to be directly in front of you when you're bowling. I can then let you know which you are, just so you know for those 3 drills that you can practice on your alignment and making sure you know what you are. Okay, so we're all good. Thursday, I've combined us all together. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put a bit of a fielding masterclass together for us to all go through. I will probably share 2 or 3 people's videos, so long as they're happy. So I'll contact your parents or your guardians before I add you into the sort of presentation thing for Thursday. But I'll pop a couple of examples in. But we'll talk a bit about fielding, and we'll be doing our fielding challenges that we were going to do on Saturday. So you will need a tennis ball or a sponge ball, ideally. If you haven't got either of those, just a scrumpled up pair of socks would be perfect. Okay, so thanks for listening. I know half an hour or so is a long time on Zoom, especially when I'm talking. It's 5:15. So Thursday's 5:15. Everybody comes at 5:15. So you're not in your groups on Thursday. You're all together at 5:15. And it's the same link as it's always been. Okay, so thanks for tonight. Hope you've picked a little bit up about sort of season preparation for your bowling and the 2 or 3 little drills you can do. And the 4 C's, I hope you've taken that. They are as important as you practicing your batting, bowling and fielding technically, and as important as the natural ability you've got. Improving those 4 points honestly can make you such a better player. Okay, so I'll see you all on Thursday at 5:15.
Thanks, James.
Thanks, everyone. See you soon.
Bye.
See you all soon.
Thanks.
Sorry, Lucas, just getting rid of the dogs. They were barking. Let me see. Oh, is he on? Oh, no. He's not here.